part of every moment, every Zoom, every TV show, every phone call, everything. And sometimes I'm like, I just need a moment for myself. Okay, I'm entitled to it. And I take those moments, because if I don't take those moments, then I can't be the best for them. How good are we to another if we can't care for ourselves? What does that look like? I'm going to tell you what that looks like. Self-care looks like planning out how you will ensure you are taken care of the way you take care of everyone else, whether it's at work or at home. Just given an example of a blueprint that you can utilize to obtain your goals. Sometimes people don't know where to start. They just sit back and say, I want to do these things, but they don't understand that those thoughts require structure. Documentation is key. Oftentimes, we want things to just manifest. Just if we close our eyes or click our heels 3 times like Dorothy, they will appear. That's not the way the world works. We have to sit, document from the very beginning, from the ground up, so to speak, and work our way through those steps to get to the goal. Things that I take into consideration when it comes to working with somebody for accountability is that you have to have similar energy. You have to be going in the same direction that I'm going in as it relates to the goal. You have to be available. I have to feel like you're inspiring me, just the same. And that goes back to inspire yourself, because sometimes the environment will call for you to be your only coach, your only cheerleader. How we feel about ourselves, what we believe, it ties up with the possibility, the alignment of what you will be. About failure and why things don't work, we generally don't explore it. It's really not about the planning. It's about us seeing where we want to be and getting there. What are your advantages over another? What is something that you haven't taken as a blessing, as a gift, as something that maybe someone else doesn't have? And have you given things for? I agree with this, right? So he's like, well, how many of you are like firstborn? And I'm raising my hand. How many of you had an opportunity to walk to school? And I'm raising my hand. How many of you never went without lights? Raising my hand. How many of you had heat? Raising my hand. All of these things. How many of you come from a 2-family household? Raising my hand. 2-parent household. Raising my hand. Elevator, raising my hand. All of these things. And I'm like, yeah, but I grew up in a hood. I grew up during an era where we had gun violence. We had drugs. I was a food stamp kid growing up. All of these things. My parents were not able to work long periods of time. I dealt with all of these things. I saw what it was like with gangs and again, drugs and all of these things. I lived in an inner city community that was partish. I knew what welfare cheese and it was like. I knew these. How are you telling me that even growing up in a hood, I am privileged? It bothered me. But then I started thinking about it, and I started hearing some of my peers talking about their experiences and what it was to be poor to them and what it was to have to walk to school for miles and what it was like sleeping with their cousins, and they had mice and roaches crawling over them. I listened to stories about certain people that didn't have an opportunity to go to school, and they had to get secondhand education from maybe their older brother, their older sister. I listened to some people tell stories about not knowing their parents ever. And I'm like, wow, I get it. Sometimes we look at adversities like they've already taken us down, but we hold power to do the total opposite. When you are in control of your schedule, when you are in control of your environment, when you are just in control and you are of sound mind, that is an advantage. And if you look at your circumstances as you have already won, you're already halfway. See where you want to be. You also have to look at some of the reservations that can occur. What are some of the negative factors that might hinder you from moving forward? And then figure out how you're going to advance with those.